Hi, I'm Lee, and if you like nerds who have been overthinking magic for the past 26 years, then you might like to subscribe. We are looking at the replacement deck for my Mimeoplasm build, which was rated third most problematic in this video due to its capacity to take out one player a mite earlier than maybe a casual game of Commander should allow, and the comments on that video, including this one, have sparked a personal deck building journey which has seen my roster plummet from 19 decks all the way down to 11. But instead of binning the Mimeoplasm, I've harvested some of its cards and adopted its core strategy of graveyard recursion and Voltron Smash, and I've created a Rukarumel Biologist deck with Hidden Commander. That Hidden Commander, of course, is the Grim Captain. And not only is he a secret commander, he's on the back of another card. Throne of the Grim Captain is a legendary artifact and can tap to mill 2 cards, and if a foolhardy explorer should combine it with the bones of a dinosaur, merfolk, pirate and vampire using Ixalan's craft mechanic, it unleashes one of the most fearsome creatures in Magic's history. A menace, trample, lifelink and hexproof 7/7 that forces each opponent to sack a non-land permanent when it attacks, and then also returns one of the creatures to play tapped and attacking that was used to resurrect the Skeleton Spirit Pirate. So, is this new deck as powerful as the Mimeoplasm? No. But will it let us do as many busted things as the Mimeoplasm? Also no. But will we win as many games with it as we won with the Mimeoplasm? Also no. This admittedly suboptimal deck is literally wading past merfolk nipping at our heels and dinosaurs trying to bite off our heads and vampires trying to bleed us dry and pirates trying to steal our purses and wallets, to find an ancient relic, not only story-wise, but also amongst the 99 of the cards in your deck. It is storytelling, it is a puzzle to solve, it is winning in my eyes. Let's look at something both decks want: creatures in the yard. Mimeoplasm lent more into mill, the Grim Captain leans more into controllable graveyard fill with draw and discard spells, Fauna Shaman that can put one creature type in the bin and find us another type we need to hand, and a Wren and Realm Breaker which fixes mana and has mill that lets us return a permanent from them to our hand. MVPs here are Insidious Dreams, discard creatures we want to craft with, find the throne and creature types we don't have and stack our draws with them, and Dihada, Binder of Wheels. Put all creatures we need to craft with in the bin, keep the throne if we reveal it, make treasure to pay for the throne, and its activation cost. So good in this build, and the +2 can make the Grim Captain indestructible too. The Grim Captain wants creatures in the graveyard because it's more cost effective to exile creatures from the graveyard for the crafting cost than having to exile creatures that you've already spent resources on to put into play. And with so much heading into our bin, reanimation fulfills our second objective. We have another avenue to winning involving all those recipe pieces that we have thrown into the graveyard, the stew if you will, that we're using to concoct the Grim Captain. So we're not using changelings, instead we have got 7 creatures of each creature type, that's 28 creatures in the deck, and I want to explore the rationale for their inclusion. What are they bringing to the deck and how are they helping us to find the Grim Captain? We have creatures that mention their creature type because through cards like Arcane Adaptation, Maskwood Nexus, yes, it can create changelings, it's just a secondary effect, move along, and Conspiracy, every creature in the deck can be a dinosaur or a vampire, a merfolk or a pirate, and that helps when things trigger if they are a certain creature type, like with Curious Altusaur giving all dinosaurs combat damage based draw. Hunting Velociraptor's prowl cost reduction, our dinos on the battlefield help out our dinos in our hand, Pantlaza's Unfavored's Discover trigger, and Wrathful Raptor's pinball damage effect. Pantlaza is especially good when exiled with the crafting cost to make Davy Jones on steroids. The Captain puts bones made to make him back onto the field, which means it triggers an ETB like Pantlaza's Discover X. Note, these 3 cards will make Gishaf a lot more scary. If all creatures in our library are dinosaurs, Gishaf's hit rate goes up, but that can't happen on turn 3, so he still stays in the acceptable risk zone. Our merfolk can give the team retrace, let them explore at the beginning of combat, which doubles as a way to mill creatures into the yard, even fly for some reason, Vamps be quaking with envy, and also become a tappable source of card draw and counters to boost the team. Why are our pirates also really useful in this build? because they are. Unsurprisingly, the chosen mates here are a source of treasure and ways to steal from the tops of libraries and from the creatures on the field. If you have an arcane adaptation effect in play, cards you control have your chosen creature type, which means we can exile stolen creatures to create the captain. The vamps be doing vamp things, reanimation obviously, but also growth through bleeding the opponent dry with the combat trigger bestowed upon them by the shadowy blessings of Methadros Vampire, who also acts like a vampire-only arcane adaptation and is backed up by Olivia Voldaren. Hit your own creatures with the first activated ability when you need another vamp for the Grim Captain Stew, or the second ability to steal a turned opponent's creature and then exile that for the craft costs. Next, we've included creatures amongst the 28 that can put other creatures in the bin. Indominus Rex does this and becomes a win con with the right creatures being discarded. Drowner of Secrets and Hackbale of the Surging Soul mill for the merfolk. Strongkirk Condemned pumps the team while doing it. Falcon Wrath Pitfighter draws cards while doing it. They are also cheap to cast. Cheap means craftable bodies on the field when we can't put them in the yard. Admiral Brass Unsinkable is leading the mill strategy for our pirates. Careful that finality counter doesn't exile you out of our main objective. This can also be another avenue for victory, keeping those dastardly swabs buckling their swashes. Malcolm Alluring Scoundrel lets us draw and discard creatures we need in the bin. Do that 4 times for a free spell. Finally, we have members of the team who can fish the throne of the Grim Captain out of the gloomy depths. Harnessed, Snubhorn and Rootwater Diver, backed up by 2 sorceries and an instant Squirming Emergence, Nostalgic Dreams, and Noxious Revival. Hopefully now the choice of commander has become clear. Rukarumel Biologist is an arcane adaptation in the command zone that can switch on the final creature type we need, lean into the best creature type for our current board state, or create slivers that are creatures of that type for 3 and a tap. Sliver tokens with an identity crisis can be exiled to pay crafting costs. Removal is creature type based. Choose a creature type and destroy them all. Sabo's Decree is really cool. If you need to get a creature type in the yard, target yourself. Choose that creature type and discard. This is also one of the best things about the throne. It's not a creature until we make it one, so it can weather a board wipe. This deck has the spiritual feel of the Mimeoplasm. They're both Voltron monstrosities made from bits and pieces you've got lying around, except there isn't that threat of early player removal, and all these hoops you have to jump through. It's a very satisfying puzzle and a varied game experience, not only for the people you're playing against, but for you also. Previously, my itch to rebuild Yorico has been scratched by Marvo Deep Operative, which is a deck tech I have completed on the channel. So if you're interested in top decking damage tomfoolery, then give that deck tech a look. This is only the beginning of this personal deck journey for me. The idea of mindfulness around not only your opponent's play experience, but yours as well. So if you're interested in that journey, or if this humble free content has inspired or entertained you today, a like and subscribe would mean the world to me. I'm off to wrestle with a particularly angry bear as I continue my coverage of Karlov Manor. And until then, I have been Lee, and this has been MTG Specs.